need to have. So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah? So for those of you that don't know me, my name is E.T.C. I am a Tigran American actor, writer, producer, creative director, and overall filmmaker that is known for making my way into Hollywood. You clap now, but that was before I put mommy on social media and she became so much bigger than me and now nobody knows me anymore, so. But I love it, honestly, having her on there. It's one of my most favorite experiences. And it wasn't intentional when we started. It was just fun and games, but our now more publicized relationship, I'm hoping that it'll encourage more of our parents to be more open, to be more playful, to joke more with their kids, because we need it, you know, now more than ever, as we embark on the healing and the rehabilitation process, not of just the last 3 to 4 or 5 years of the trauma malatute, but the last decades that we never just had any sort of time or opportunity to really heal and grow from. Now, one thing that I find really funny about my public persona is I become known as the girl that's always laughing, always happy. That's just her name. تفطرة كويو، تفطرة تعدي له يبهل. نعمل تفطرة. Who? Not me. تفطرة by nature خرفافية. بقولت أمانينك هذا صار اللي عليها, but still it's a choice. The joy and the happiness is a choice that I make. And it's one that by nature I'm inclined to make. Goodness, all of us as humans, if we have the option, wouldn't we choose happiness? Wouldn't we choose joy? Wouldn't we choose love? Isn't that what we all work so hard for? But it's much easier by nature for me to be quicker to anger than it is happiness. And you guys saw it. Anto, Uncle Mulu, and Hermes, you saw a little bit. I had to go back to my hotel. I had to reground myself. So to combat, a lot of it is also a trauma response. It's a learned behavior from experiencing a lot of different unsafe life experiences. But to combat it, I work on practicing joy and gratitude so it can reground me and let me see the beautiful people in front of me and be grateful to be here with you and be appreciative of the life that we have. In many ways, I grew up in a very traditional, typical Habesha household. Education is king, right under God. It's normal to drink coffee 3 times a day, and we say it's not an addiction. It's an addiction. Somebody understand? Where the most commonly served tzarhi is not shuro, it's tzarfi. You guys know what I'm talking about. Back home, they wake up to what? The roosters. We wake up to what? Tzarfi. It's our appetizer in the morning. And then for breakfast, more tzarfi. I see you're laughing. I know you understand. But unfortunately, if I'm being very honest, which I'm going to be very honest tonight, I also grew up in a very toxic and crippling household. One that was very verbally, emotionally, physically, and sexually abusive. One that taught me at a very young age, I don't always have to tell the truth. That being poor is safer. That limiting my dreams and my interests and my goals would actually protect me. And when I stepped outside of my particular household and I observed the various Habesha communities that my family spent time with, in many ways, not all, but in many it was an extension of the same thing. Their favorite hobbies were lying and gossiping, and cheating and boasting and name-calling and manipulating. People who didn't even like each other spent hours, days, weeks, months together, going to everybody's events and observing and monitoring what they were doing. It's like this weird social thing where everybody tried to make themselves look better than the other. But everybody was on the same boat. We were checked, believe me. But somehow we got intertwined and it became to feel like it. And now I feel like it's ruining really our developmental capacity. Like take the topic of shame, for example. We misuse that word so many times. Why is it so shameful to talk about our pain? Especially more often than not when we do so, it's because we're seeking help. Like if someone is hurting you in any way, right? But let's say something as extreme as sexual. Instead of calling the person that's doing the abusing out and holding them accountable for their shameful actions, we shame the victim into silence and suppression as if they're the ones that committed the crime. I'm talking in the home, outside of the home, the setting doesn't matter. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm sure even now you're probably uncomfortable that I'm talking about it. And I understand that. But it seems like we care more about protecting our image than we do our people. No to call you. What are people gonna say? It's not the time. It's gonna bring shame and dishonor to the family. But let's be honest, what kind of shame or what kind of honor do you think you can possibly have if you can't protect your own people? If you're too scared to speak up for them? This is our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our granddaughters, your niece, your cousin, your aunt we're talking about. All because of some little word that some people that you might not even like or respect might say behind your back. And then like nothing happened. Why? Why do you want to be in the company of people who don't actually care about you or protect you the way that they need to? Now, I was 11 years old trying to understand this. I couldn't. And because I couldn't make sense of it, I got really frustrated. I got really angry. I started to not trust anybody around me. I became very resentful. Until I realized, very heartbrokenly, that this is not a safe space for me. I can't be here. So what did I do? I removed myself from the community. I left as far as humanly possible. I went to New York. And I spent the rest of my time subconsciously until I became more mature, trying to find a real sense of community where people actually shared the same values of love and protection and honor and integrity and righteousness and practice them as best as we could. And honestly, I found that. Not only that, I got to create it. I got to contribute and learn and grow from it. And really, that's the only reason why I stand before you today. My heart is not too hardened. I'm sane enough. But I got really, really lucky. I had the privilege of choosing to let go of what wasn't serving me anymore, to leave my environment and to find a different one, settle in a new one where I can create as many communities as I wanted, with as many different people as I wanted. People that might or might not look like me, that might or might not come from the same country or share the same cultural or faithful values. But inherently, we share the same fundamental human values of seeking love and nurture and communityship. And it developed a very strong root. Now that's my privilege, right? And that's many of ours. But what about our innocent brothers and sisters back home who don't have that privilege, who don't have the same access to various platforms that provide free to low-cost services, of a microphone for their voices to be heard the way that I'm constantly offered one, or access to other communities who just get it, who lovingly welcome them with open arms as valued citizens, as valued humans, as children of God. The reason, and this is difficult, the reason that I stand before you today and share very sensitive and very personal information is not because I'm interested in killing the mood or wanting to be the next face or the next topic of gossip within our community. I really don't have any interest, you guys, but I don't. But because 120,000 plus of our mothers, of our sisters, of our daughters, who are also victims of sexual abuse and violence, in this case used as a war tactic, they don't have the same privilege as I do. They don't have the same privilege that we do. Our wa'aros went into battle in the name of their families, in the name of our community, who not only had bullets and bombs, knives and chemical warfare threatening to end their life, but they were up against vile predators who sought to completely humiliate and violate their entire physical and mental and emotional and spiritual well-being. And they somehow managed to survive all of that. And they come back home. And what kind of treatment do they receive? Banishment, exileship, divorce, shamed into isolation, forced to hide themselves from the world, and they could only reveal their eyes. These are Christian women. They're not hiding, they're not covering themselves freely, comfortably, confidently, as a symbolic practice of their Islamic faith. They're being told to do so out of shame. It's a big difference. And for what? For being brave enough to risk their lives for us? For courageously standing up for us? For seeking to protect us? Instead of saying thank you for your services and I'm so sorry for what happened to you, how can I help you? You know what they're termed? They're termed taraf sha'biya. And they're discarded like they're no longer one of us. Like they no longer have value. Understand, if they are the remainders of our enemies, because that's what it translates to, then I am too. Except the only difference is my enemy was in my own home. It was one of us. But based on the overwhelming collective response, it seems like we have become our own greater enemy than the ones we were fighting by cowardly refusing to protect our own women. Do you realize that if my story, the story of my life, ended where I experienced those things within my own experiences of life, I wouldn't be here in front of you today. When I had my first full-blown mental breakdown, my first year of college, my first semester of college, and I got diagnosed with depression, and I had raging thoughts of suicide, again, conversations we don't talk about. If there wasn't people who took me in, who knew how to validate, how to love, how to comfort me, to provide a safe space for me to heal, who humanized me, who let me speak my pain, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't. There would be no Coco Hollywood Fotuna. So these women, our sisters, our future daughters, our mothers, that we're discarding, they're the innovators of future Tigran. The trailblazing CEOs, the presidents, the world-renowned surgeons, the master lyricists, the architects, the Coco Hollywoods, the national anthem, all of them. That's going to build the bridge of reform. But that's what proper rehabilitation offers. Proper community shift. And I'm lucky to be a product of both. So believe me when I say that our survival, our future existence, depends on us implementing property shift. And maybe there are many of us that say, I don't even know what to do. Where do I start? What kind of power do I have? We all have it. It starts with ourselves. You have to examine yourself. You have to ask yourself, how am I contributing to my success or my downfall today? Even your self-talk, how do you talk to yourself? If you make a mistake, do you beat yourself up? Or do you encourage yourself to try again? When you see your brothers and sisters succeeding, do you encourage them? Because you understand their success means your success? Or do you get jealous and wallow away? If somebody needs help, are you willing to help them? Or are you scared? Next time I might need help, so you guys, we live here. We know how to clock in and clock out every day, on time. You need something, you Google, Amazon, whatever. So we have to implement the access that we have. I want to dare you to be brave enough to just give it a try. We're all here today, and I'm so thankful for you being here. But there are things within our community that we all want to change, and we talk about it, but we got to do something about it. So to the generations of my parents, our grandparents, I know this is probably not normal for us, me standing up here saying I get it, I understand. But if it wasn't dire, if it wasn't necessary, if this wasn't a conversation or life or death, I wouldn't vulnerably be here, I promise you. But our sisters need it. Our mothers need it. Our kids need it. Our future generation needs it. So we're here. And to our Wados back home specifically, to our mothers, to our sisters, to our daughters, I love you so much. I love you so much. Your strength, your bravery, it's my shield. It's my greatest motivation. It's what keeps me patient when I really don't have it in me. I told you, Gorfafia, I don't have patience. It's what gives me hope when I have a really hard time seeing it or believing it. And you deserve better. You deserve so much better. And you're gonna get better. But I need them to know that they're not the product of somebody else's shortcomings. You're a child of God. Your brilliance, your wisdom, your intelligence, your heart, your beauty, nobody can take that away from you. It's yours. And you have so much more life ahead of you. Your story does not end here. It doesn't begin here. There's so much more life ahead of you. Don't let anybody dim your light just because they can't see it. To the organizers of our beloved Wado, look at me, I'm already talking about it, our Wala, Uncle Mulugeta, Ermias, Danny, Tomasgan, the entire community, the Tigran community forums, who've been doing this, who've been daring to change, who've been daring to better our community, who are doing a very, very good job at it. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys give me so much hope, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have trusted. But I appreciate the strides that you're taking, the commitment that you have, the sacrifices that you're making for us all. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And for everybody that showed up here to support, who continues to drive, seriously, I really appreciate everybody who did so. So my last message to you all is to continue to drive, continue to show up. And let's protect our sisters a little better than we have. Let's protect our mothers a little better than we have. Let's protect our daughters a little better than we have been. We're here because of them.